Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Hogwarts Legacy and I'm going to be giving you or telling you about the top 5 biggest mistakes I think a lot of players are making early game that are really hampering their effects to play the game effectively and in the funnest manner possible. We're going to tell you what those are and hopefully I will help you avoid them. But first, a word from this video sponsor, the Holwick Wand Company. Today's video is brought to you by the Holwick Wand Company, the link for which you will find in this video's description. If you are a Harry Potter fan and you've always wanted to have your very own wand, not a replica of a character's wand from the movies, not some cheap plastic crap from a sweatshop in China, but a genuine handmade solid wooden wand, then the Holwick Wand Company is the answer to your dreams. Every single wand is 100% custom and handmade, so no two will ever be the same. Each wand is hand carved from only the highest quality wood and guaranteed to be from the exact species as advertised. Other custom wand companies crank out the same identical designs or buy birch doubles in bulk before turning them on a lathe, but not the Holwick Wand Company. From the selection process by their master forester to the crafting process of their master wand maker, every step is completed with diligent and loving care and attention to detail. So if you're in the market for a new wand, check them out today. Again, that link is in the description. And so, like always, that code will be down in the pinned comment below. If you purchase anything, use that to get yourself a 10% discount. Honestly, great product that I think pairs quite well with the Harry Potter fan in everyone. So, with all that in mind, let's just dive on in. And so, the first mistake that I want to talk about is the one that I'm going to place at number 5, and it's not upgrading your inventory space. And so, all of the loot that you find, which will typically be just various different types of clothing items. All of it has to fit inside your inventory. Once that's full, you can't pick up anymore, and there's not a choice to drop things. You gotta then run to town and sell them. And so if you let your inventory fill up without selling your stuff, which is also a mistake because then you're just missing out on money that you could be gaining, you won't be able to pick up anymore, and so it will hamper your money-making efforts, as well as hamper your abilities to possibly pick up legendary items that you might miss otherwise because you can't tell what it is while it's on the ground. You can upgrade your inventory, so you can see I've already upgraded mine twice, so I've got 28 slots total. And there is a way to do that you can access relatively early in the game. It's a level 5 mission where you end up helping some witch who's being attacked, and once you do that mission, you will be able to go find what is called the Merlin Trials all over the map. And so these Merlin Trials are signified by this little feather icons, or I should say it's a Mallowsweet icon because that's what it is. And there are a lot of them all over the map, and typically there's like 5 or 6 different varieties. There's one where you're basically hopping from one platform to another and you have to make sure you don't touch the ground. Once you get to the end, you win. There's other ones where you have to light a bunch of braziers. There's ones where you have to like destroy little circular pot things that are hidden in the general vicinity. There's ones where you have to bring little orbs and get them into little locking in plates. There's a whole bunch of variety of them, but they're all relatively simple once you figure them out. And doing enough of them will help you with the challenges, which will upgrade your inventory space. So you can see it's under the exploration part of challenges. If you go into challenges and exploration, you have the complete Merlin Trials. And so if you solve 2 of them, you get your first expansion, then you solve 6, you get the next expansion, then 10, and so on and so forth. And you can upgrade until you have quite a larger inventory than you start with. And like I said, this is something you can start doing very early in the game. If you progress through like the first 5 or 6 main missions, you will come across this one. So that is a mistake a lot of people make. It really hampers your effects at making money and getting really good gear because it's really easy to fill up those slots really fast. And you, like I said, to get rid of them, you got to go to Hogwarts or Hogsmeade to sell it off. So getting your inventory as big as possible, as quick as possible, is definitely a great way to play the game, and not doing so is a mistake. The second mistake people make is not upgrading their gear. Okay, and so mind you, to do this you have to be far enough into the game to have opened up the room of requirement, and then there is a mission you have to do for your house elf in there, which will unlock the ability to build the magical loom. Once you have that, you can use resources that you can gather throughout the game or purchase from certain vendors to upgrade your gear, and it makes a huge difference. So you can see that the base stat that you start with all of your equipment is shown in the second box right below the description, and it'll say offense 83. Well, each one can be upgraded 3 times, and higher level things like the legendary and extraordinary gear can also be slotted with specific trait upgrades, which will sometimes reduce damage that you take from certain things or increase damage that you do with certain spells. So upgrading the equipment can make the exact same suit of, I don't want to say armor, the same outfit can make it vastly different. So you can see the armor I'm wearing, these are all relatively new items that I picked up recently, and so none of them except for the headwear and the neckwear actually have any sort of upgrades to them at all, and they just have their traits filled. The other one, you know, so none of them are upgraded at all, but I still have a really good suit of armor, or clothing. If I were to upgrade all of these to level 3, which I can't in this playthrough because I don't have the loom yet in this playthrough, but once you get it, you can really improve your clothing, and it's something that you should not overlook, because it can turn any item into a really good item, and a really good item into a fabulous item. So it is a mistake to not upgrade any gear. So that is the second one I wanted to talk about. So the next mistake I want to talk about is focusing just on damage spells. So there are a variety of spells in the game. These red ones are your primary damage spells. It's not that none of the other spells deal damage or have the potential to deal damage, it's just that that's what these ones are specifically for. So some people might think the best combat loadout would be, you know, 4 of these damage spells. So I could pop on Confringo, Defindo, Expelliarmus, and Incendio and have an incredibly powerful loadout. And mind you, yes, you can deal a lot of damage with that. The problem is the combat in this game is a lot more nuanced than that. So I've tried it just out of interest as I unlocked spells. I tried just, you know, putting a bunch of them together and seeing how it worked. And because they have a cooldown, and that will leave you then with just your basic attack, you know, your red sparks essentially, it's not a great way to play the game. You definitely want to make sure that you keep a variety of items. So this loadout I've got here is Expelliarmus, Confringo, Arresto Momentum, and Compulso. It's basically just a slightly more advanced version of what I would start with initially, which would be something along these lines, but, you know, maybe using Levioso or Accio, or Accio, or however you pronounce it in combat, using a variety of utility spells like that, or even something like Expelliarmus, which does very little damage to a person, but disarms them. And stuff like that really improves the combat in a lot of ways. It makes it a lot more versatile, obviously, because you're not just spamming, you know, lightning bolts and fireballs at people. And it also makes it really, really engaging because you've got a lot more going on at once and you can really get creative with it. So instead of just Avada Kedavra-ing everyone like Voldemort would, you're more like Grindelwald, you know, really using a variety of spells to prove your point and kill your enemies. And in addition to that, it just makes it easier. You will find yourself getting bogged down and just destroyed by high damage dealing enemies if you do nothing but spam damage spells. But if you utilize your utility spells, you can slow them down, make sure you're not getting bombarded from every single direction by spells constantly. So there's a lot of reasons why you should not just focus on high damage spells, and you should learn how to utilize the utility spells in your average combat experience. The next mistake a lot of people make is one of balance. So in a game like this, there are main quests, there are side quests, and there are totally optional, you know, small dynamic activities that might have very little effect other than maybe not picking up a item, you know, maybe a wand handle or something like that. The way that I play a game like this is I like to do all of it. So I'll do the main story mission, and then I'll do all of the side content I can find, and then I'll do the next main story mission. This usually results in me being a little over-leveled because, you know, you gain experience from all that side stuff, but it just makes the world feel so much more full, and I prefer it that way. And one of the things that this game has is the owl post. And so basically, this is how you'll get a lot of things. It's, for one thing, it's how you get all of the communication from people in the game. They send you letters. And some of them are going to be related to stuff that is either main content or main content adjacent, so you will automatically kind of be led to opening it up and reading it. Other stuff won't be, though. It'll be small side stuff, or maybe that letter doesn't introduce anything, but reading it gets you another letter, and then that letter gets you a mission. Stuff like that. So don't ignore the owl post. Whenever you get a letter, read it, and if it has a mission related to it, you usually want to do that right away, because those are the type of missions that most frequently can be missed. So like I've said in previous videos, and I'll say again here, if you do main story missions, you can miss side missions. Like if a side mission becomes available for Not Psioni and you don't do it, but you keep progressing through the main story, you might miss the opportunity to ever do that mission. And since a lot of the content in this game falls under all of that optional side stuff, I definitely don't recommend doing that. So a mistake a lot of people make is ignoring their owl post, or just in general ignoring like students standing in a hallway being like, hey, come over here, clearly trying to get you to do something for them. If you ignore that type of stuff, you're going to miss out on a lot of what the game has to offer. And from, you know, not just a content standpoint, it's going to make the game harder because you're going to miss out on optional spells, different techniques, clothing items, or like I said, wand handles, stuff like that, that can make a very big difference depending on how you play the game. So definitely don't ignore the owl post and don't ignore side missions. Finally, our last one that I want to talk about is the talents, and therefore talent points. So once you get to a certain point in the game, I think the mission is called the map room. Once you've gotten to that mission, which is one of the main story missions, you unlock the ability to spec out talent points, basically to more fully flesh out the build that you're going for. And so these talent points start at level 5, and there are 36. You can get 36 talent points and spend them throughout the game. That being said, there are 48 different talents, so basic math should tell you that you can't actually get every single talent. You can't max out all of these. You're going to have to choose which spells you use the most and then use your talent points to affect those, or which techniques you use the most, maybe your room of requirement stuff, whatever. You can't get them all, so you have to choose them wisely. And so the obvious approach to that is twofold. So if you go into, I'll just go into core since I actually did get all of the ones in here. You have 3 different tiers, okay? And you have that for all of the different talents. And so your top tier are the ones that you unlock at level 22. Typically these ones, just across the board, are going to be the ones that have the greatest effect. They're the most valuable talents. So one method to go would be to wait until before you spend any of your points, wait until you get all of them, and then start at the top and move your way down, because then you're gonna have the most valuable ones overall. But that's not necessarily true, because the top talent might be something that you don't really use that much. So if you don't like to use the plants in combat, having one that improves your venomous tentacula isn't necessarily going to be that useful to you. It's very important to carefully choose what you spend your talent points on, because like I said, you cannot get them all, and they cannot be respec, at least not as far as I know. There is no way to get your talent points back and then respend them, as far as I've been able to find. Be very careful with the way you choose these. Don't just, you know, at level 6 or at level 5 when you first are able to do them, don't just spend them all on all the ones that you have available to you. Make sure that you're carefully planning out how you're going to build your character, because otherwise you're going to run out of points and not be able to reach your full potential. Those are the 5 mistakes that I think a lot of players, especially new players to games like this, or this game specifically, have been making. And that's why I've pointed them out here, because I think those are best avoided. So with all that in mind, thanks a ton for watching. I hope you found this video to be enjoyable and useful. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.